All right, so I'll be right with you.
Okay.
Nice.
It's just
Okay.
us. Don't you
It's
feel
just
special?
us. Yes, yes, I do. Thank you for coming. So what did you guys think about Ignite? This is the end for this session.
Yeah.
I I absolutely loved it.
Okay.
It's a lot of info to take in,
Mhm.
and I think the Jennifers would agree with me. A lot falls on our shoulders to do our due diligence, our homework, and
Mhm.
but the format and the outline that KW provides
Mhm.
to me is priceless.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because then we got we could always go into YouTube and go back to our references too if we
Mhm.
if we stumble across something, which is
Right.
great. It's fantastic. It's been a pleasure.
Good, good, good.
I think it's fantastic, and I also think it's necessary to take it more than once, because I joined at the end of January, and so I caught like the last week, and I
Mhm.
was everything was over my head. I didn't know what anybody was talking about, and um,
Mhm.
so then I started fresh this month and went through the whole thing, and each it just made more sense to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
I advise people to do it more than once for sure.
right, right. And I know, so Stephen Henry was on, I did the first one, and Stephen was on that, and I could have just like kissed him through the screen, because he was talking about, hey, I joined in November, and I decided to come back and do this again, and I've learned a lot. And he was also talking about command and how he's been using that, and it's like, this is the best thing since sliced bread, and it's like, this is awesome. Yeah, I know when I started, it was a different Ignite series. And of course it was all in person, but I believe I took it like 3 times during my first year,
Mhm.
because at the beginning you're just, as you said, Jennifer S, like you're just like, whoa, this is a lot of stuff,
Yeah, it
and
is.
you don't have any experience yet really to understand what it means.
Mm.
Yeah, and if you come back a couple months later, it's like, oh, that's what they were talking about, and now you can maybe use that more effectively.
Mhm. And you said this, I know it's in the book, and you didn't make it up, Chris, but
Sure,
like
I did.
Come on, give her credit.
it takes 66 days to like form habits, and it's really true.
Mhm.
Like it's really repetitive every day to have the running your business and growing your business, but like it starts to sink in after you hear it every single day for a month. You know what I mean? So it's
Right, right. Yeah, it's not, like you work in a retail store and people are just going to walk in and say, hey, I need a tube of toothpaste.
right.
You know, um, we deal in much larger things than toothpaste, and you kind of have to go find your people to work with.
Mhm.
And when you find them, you need to know and understand how to work with them. And one of the good things is we have the people to help you with that. We did not have the mentorship, the launch partner program when I first started. So I just kind of glommed on to Karen Hilbert. The first time I
Okay.
needed to do an offer was actually for a short sale.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, Karen, I need to write an offer, and so tell me about short sales because I don't know anything. And so she kind of gave me the lowdown and things I needed to look for and whatever. And then I went, put the offer together, realized that there were still some questions, so called her and said, hey, do you have some time tomorrow? And she said, of course. So I came in, and there were a bunch of us that had just started, and we were talking, and Karen comes out of her office and she goes, well, you guys all want to just come into a conference room and we'll go over this stuff, so
Yes.
yeah, exactly. So I did get that short sale accepted.
Nice.
yeah, and it worked. So yeah,
Nice.
so there's, it's what we do oftentimes, isn't hard. Keller Williams gives you the tools to follow so you can get started and, get over yourself. If you've got that problem. I know a lot of people hate making phone calls. I'm sometimes one of them, but yeah. So so to kind of go back to the beginning, what we're going to do today is go over GRAR tools, things that you probably haven't had in other classes. And so I'm just going to kind of go through things, and you can tell me if there's something that you've heard of that you want to know about. And okay, so even though I said, I'm not really planning to do transaction desk or matrix, if you've got some questions on that, I could probably answer those too. That sound
Okay.
good?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go share. So are you guys all actively using the stuff that that we have in GRAR?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. You know what? I'm gonna stop sharing for a bit and put this on the other screen so I can.
Chris, I believe there's a course in person for Matrix. I
Yes.
think that I want to attend that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be April 15th.
Okay. And I think they can take something like 17 people in the training room now.
Oh, okay. I might be too late to sign up. I got to call.
Okay. Can you guys see this?
Mhm.
Okay, good. And I'm gonna move your little faces over to that side. Okay. Let me go log in. I had to change my password the other day, which I'm sure you guys did too, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Wouldn't it be funny if this didn't work today? No, I've been sitting there for a while. So the GRAR tools, by the way, just keep getting better and better and better. This where you can save your username, that's been there maybe 6 months. We always had to type everything in over and over again. And even though it won't save your password for you, which I never let anything save my password anyway, it makes it better, makes it easier. Okay, so the GRAR portal. So if you just look at it, one of the things that you're going to want to do, if you haven't done it, is go look at your profile. And you can click on edit. Make sure that you have the phone number that you want to use. For those of you in Brighton, did you get the email and you know that your office phone number is a fax number for you? So if you had something else in there, you can go and edit that. So you've got your information in there. Let's see.
Chris, does that apply to the West office too?
It doesn't. They have you guys set up a little bit differently.
Okay.
But I know there is a number that they use for faxes at the West office.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, so see, here's my office line and the fax number. So yeah, we're doing, the Brighton office does things with phones a little bit differently than you guys do in the West office. But
So
go ahead.
Chris, if you have the same number that works as a landline phone number and a fax number, when you call a fax and you hear the dee,
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
if somebody called that as your number, as your office number, how are they distinguishing?
So it's actually, the phone system is set up to check to see if it's a fax that's coming in.
Ah,
If it
okay,
is, it's going to email it to you. If it isn't, it's going to forward to your cell phone.
okay.
So that's a new feature that we have. We switched over to this phone system the end of January. And back in the earlier days, we had a fax server, and so all of us had fax numbers that were one number off of our phone number. Well, that fax server hasn't been working for a couple years. But with the new one, that was when we were setting it up, that was one of the things that I was told about, and is like, yeah, let's do that. So you're not going to get a whole lot of faxes, but if you do, they work just really nicely. And it'll go right to your email. So, I mean, you want to go, check all of this, put a photo in here so that you've got a photo for yourself. So if you haven't updated things there, do that.
Okay.
Okay.
You can do like an
Um,
email
go-
signature in Matrix that has like your business card and stuff like that, or no?
well, it's not exactly like that. So when you send out things from Matrix, you can say, so there's settings in Matrix too. So here's my Matrix. Summary contact my. Hang on. So while we're in Matrix, did you know that there's links in here? So if you're looking for different places to check out taxes and things like that, they're all right here.
I did not know. Thank you.
Yep. And one of the other things, so in Monroe County, for everything except for the city of Rochester, you can get your school tax information from Monroe County, the Monroe County site. However, you will notice that if you're looking at a property that is in the city of Rochester, there will be no school taxes. And that's not because the city of Rochester does not charge for schools. You have to go to the city of Rochester site. And this is where you're going to go.
City of Rochester.
Yep. And so here's the Monroe County, Ontario County, Niagara County, Wayne County. So this is something I've been on the tech committee at GRAR for quite a while, and had to drop off this year because I'd been on for so long, but they just allowed me back in because some people dropped off. And so this is something that we as the tech committee did a couple years ago. We went through and verified the different links that were in here to make sure that they were indeed correct, and added things that might not have been there before. So that's something that a lot of people have no idea that it's there. So I'm going to go, when you send out something from Matrix, it's going to ask, if you do an email for Matrix, say for a listing, it's going to ask if you want to send your header and footer. I never do, or if you want to print it, let me just go grab one.
Oh, and the other question I had about that was there's a box that says reverse prospecting.
Yeah.
What does that mean, and should you check it?
I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead and check it. So what reverse prospecting is if you've got a listing, you can go in and click on the reverse prospecting, and you will be able to see a list of who your listing has been sent to. Okay, so agents. So it doesn't give you the person's name, but the agent. And it'll give you some information about that person. How many searches they've done, how many emails they've gotten. And you can, with the reverse prospecting, with that list, you can send an email. You have to do it one by one, back to the listing agent that tells them, hey, your client, looked at this, do they have any interest?
Okay.
So kind of double check things. That's what reverse prospecting is. So you can make the decision as to whether to do that or not. But here in the print, so here's without header or footer, and I'm trying to find where I would find what the footer is. But let's say I'm going to do my header and footer, and I don't want a 360 view. Let's just do a client view, client full, print to PDF. And so this is what it gets with my header. And see that I really have a footer. But this is what also displays. So each person that you have set up with an auto email has their own little portal. And this is what's going to display on that portal also.
Okay.
Okay.
Chris, while we're looking at this, all these lists of things on the left-hand side.
Yep.
So I had a showing yesterday, or I don't know, a couple days ago. And Jeffrey told me, print out the long sheet and the short sheet. And then, so I was like, okay,
Like
so I
this-
went back there.
This one and this one.
Client full and realtor. Okay, good. And
Yep.
and that's how I interpreted it. And that's what I printed, but just wanted to make sure while you were here.
Yeah. So the way I do it, so those are the two that I print out. So the
Okay.
realtor full is for myself.
Yeah.
And the client full is for my client.
Okay.
Some of the things I do then, once I've got them, I go and I check the tax records to make sure that the taxes are correct and to make sure that the assessments are correct. And I will tell you right now that a whole bunch of the assessments are wrong. If they just got them off Realist, I think Realist hasn't been updated with some of the later assessments. Most of the taxes have been right, but a lot of the assessments have been wrong. I'll also take a look on RPR to see what RPR believes that it's worth. I will also then look at the property condition disclosure, and if there's anything that I can find, that's going to be useful for my client, I will, write that down on my copy. And then I'll let them know that, and oftentimes the roof is about the only thing that might have some good information. If you can't find information, you might be able to go to a historical record, and they may have a property condition disclosure that has more information on it. And this one doesn't have any history. But let me go back to oh, here's my account. Here's my account settings. Sorry, it's like, where is that? I don't go into this very often. So here underneath your name are your settings. And so you can put your information in here. Hot sheets, I don't do custom displays. So I have custom displays set up. And I told you I wasn't going to talk about Matrix, but that's okay. So let's go. Let me just go look at my home. So some of the things, this may look different than your homepage. So on these, you can change or remove things if you want to, like the external links. I'm not really going to look at it here, but maybe it's going to be useful for you. You can take those off of your page. And then say if you wanted to look at them or get them back on your page, they're going to be here under additional. And so contact request, okay, my stats, external link. So then I can just drag that back in. And you can drag them around the way that you want to. So things I like, recent portal visitors, I can see, who's come and looked at their stuff. Carts, do you guys know about carts? Carts are the best thing since sliced bread. So with our older MLS system, we had one cart. And so I use a cart basically so this one is someone that I've been working with. And, okay, so these were properties that he said that he was interested in seeing. So whenever he tells me that he's interested in it, I'll go and add it to the cart. So if I have, okay, these are all sold, under contract, pending, etc., etc., etc. But say if I just went, I'm just going to get something new here on listings. I'm just going to go my office, new listings. Let's go look at that. Say I want to put this one into his cart. So I'm just going to go and say, select that. Oh, and I can't do carts this way. Sorry, let me go get it a different way. Okay, so here I can select that, and then one of your things here is carts. You can select, okay, whose cart you want to use. So let's say we'll add it to his, add it to the cart. And then you can view it. And so with this, it makes it easy to say if you wanted to show these four together. One of my actions I can do is directions. And so what it does is it creates, basically you're showing directions so that you don't have to backtrack, at least not too much. And so then down here, we'll have the turn-by-turn directions. And what I do is I use this to see how far apart they are and to decide what order I want to show them in. So like this one is 9 minutes away from this one. So if I'm doing 30-minute appointments, I'm going to want to put probably a 15-minute slot in there before I schedule that one, where these other ones are really close together. So I can probably do a half hour, half hour, half hour, half hour, and make it to them. And you can even print this, you can email this, you can add starts and stops. So if you want to figure out how far it is away from your house, you can do that. You can reorder things. So if you say, nope, I need to do it the opposite way around, you can move things, up and down and then say, hey, I want to get the directions. So carts are wonderful, and you can have a cart per person. So they're all separated out. Like I said, with our old system before Matrix, there was one cart. And so if I was going to show, it's like, okay, these 3 are going to be for Dan, and these are going to be for this person. And where with the multiple carts, it's just wonderful. Questions on that? And then, so other things you can do, you can export them. Oh, and so custom displays. So you can modify the display. So you can go click in here and I'm thinking you'll probably learn this in a matrix class, is you can insert a column. You can make it a different size. I don't really do that, but say I wanted to insert a column, it'll ask me what other information do you want to have on that. And here, let me show you some of mine. One of mine is called sold info. So I have the address, I have the original list price, I have the sold price. And of course, the sold price is only going to show if it's actually been sold. Beds, baths, etc. And this person, so these are the wrong ones. This person liked looking at his own data. So I would go find listings that were equivalent to what he was looking at and then export it into a spreadsheet and send it to him so he could take a look at it. So if you have people who like to, work with their own, kind of play with stuff on their own, you can easily do that. You can also schedule, if you select a bunch of them, you can schedule them through showing time. You can do a CMA through here. So just some of the little things that you can do along the way. That makes sense?
Now, Chris, I have a question. Showing time is the only platform to set up appointments?
Well, so you need to look at the listing. So let's go look at this one that's active
Okay,
and see what they say for showing. So they say online showing service, and they say specifically, please use showing time. So just a
Oh.
little tip, when you're doing listings, if you're going to use showing time, there's the showing appointment number. Replace that with the words showing time. There's no, you don't have to put a number in there.
okay.
And then that way, I mean, here it looks kind of weird, doesn't it? It's like, okay, called nobody. That really is about the only one being used now. So used to be, okay, showing time became free to us probably also a couple of years ago. Before that, a lot of agents contracted with other companies, and actually one of them was showing time, to allow people to schedule their showings. So some people aren't using showing time. And if they're not using showing time, they have to tell you how to make an appointment.
Okay,
Okay. But the nice thing with with showing time is you can say, hey, I want to do these 4, and you can set up showings. Okay, let me just go and find a few that are actually currently active.
Didn't Zillow just buy showing time?
Yep, they did.
Are they gonna put like realtors out of business?
Well, they're kind of trying to. Oh, again, I can't do that, can I? Okay, so let me go do a quick search.
It's hard to believe people would ever want to buy a home without any human interaction. But
that,
Well, quite frankly, actually, humans are involved. Let me go get a better set. So humans are involved. They really can't do it without the agents, though they are a brokerage.
well, it seems like they're trying to eliminate the need for a buyer agent.
Yeah. So it's, it's something we have to make sure that we provide value. And Let me go do this. Okay, what I'll usually send to people, I'll do the sold ones like in the last 180 days. And I did North Winton Village. Actually, let me make that even, let me take it 3 to 4 bedrooms. Change the square footage. So I'm down to 35 now. So if I go and look at the results and say, the reason I left the active in there, say I was doing, say it's this one on McKinley Street that my client might be interested in. I'm going to leave that one in there. And then I'm going to select the 2 that I don't want. And here in carts, oops, nope, sorry, refine, I can discard those 2. So they get out of my way. And then I can do, okay, so like I said, I like looking at the sold information, and that's what somebody's going to use to figure things out. So I will go, and 25 isn't enough, so I'm going to display 50. And I'm going to say, hey, I want all of those. And I am going to export those. Ooh, I wonder if you're going to be able to see the export the way that I'm shared. You can tell me if you can or not. Nope, you can't see that, and you can't see that spreadsheet, can you? No spreadsheet?
No.
Okay,
No.
let me change the way I'm sharing. I'll just share screen one. Okay, now you can see the spreadsheet, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the spreadsheet that it downloads for me. And so this is my sold version. And I just kind of go and take out the columns that I don't care about. So here's status, okay, active. Here's the address. Original list price, sales price. I always have the seller concessions in there because if somebody took seller concessions, what the seller is going to get will be this price minus the seller concessions. So if there's a lot of those, you can possibly, just do a subtraction from that. You can, since it's in Excel, you can do pretty much anything with it that you want. So here's your bill. So here's all of this different information that somebody or you guys might be able to use to see, okay, how many days on market did we have? What kind of a sale was it? Okay, so here, this Marion Street one, they started at 154.9. Then they lowered it to 147.9. They got 145,000. And then I will usually do things like, okay, so this is all Rochester. This is all Rochester School District. And I did the neighborhood and I did total number of apartments. I'm just going to delete that because my person doesn't need to see that. And then you can do and insert a little text box. And I just will put, here's my criteria. North Winton Village. What did I have? Price. So I had 100,000 to I think 170,000. 3 to 4 bedrooms. 1,000 to, I don't even know what I had for feet. And then you could use that for yourself, or you could send it off to your client. If there's someone who likes to, calculate and figure out things themselves.
Is there dates on there somewhere? Like the date
There
it
are,
was
yep.
sold?
Here's your close
Oh,
dates. So
okay.
one of the things I don't like the format, so I always reformat that one. So it's a date and I make it a slightly shorter format. So it shows. The other things I do, I'll go through. I don't like the long top, so I will replace the word total with nothing so that these are smaller. But yeah, so you can decide what columns you want to have, and it will export in any format that you are keeping in it, that you are displaying them in on your system. So so as I said, that's my sold info. I've got a bunch of different things. So originally you're going to have, it's going to look like this. If you want to do the sold information, so you can say, okay, so I want to add in, so I'm going to insert a column. And so then you're going to go look through and find whatever pieces of information that you want. Yeah, let me just add in village, which isn't going to be applicable in a lot of cases. And then let's see, manage display. Then you can save your changes or you can save a copy. So you can have as many versions of displays as you want. You can create them. So whatever works for you. And you might have seen that on that one, I had number of apartments. So if you're working with a lot of multifamilies, that might be a useful column for you. So lots of different things you can do in here. And then of course, you could do a new auto email from that with that exact search, which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense because I did it for sold information. So you wouldn't want to do that, but that's where you could do that from. Any questions on that stuff? Okay. Let's go back to our main page. So in GRAR, here are upcoming courses. So this is where you can see, what's coming up. So here's your intro to matrix. And here's your matrix 2. So it's in the morning and in the afternoon via live webinar. So these are all of the ones that are provided by GRAR. And you can still register for that. So you can see that there's still 22 slots left.
Okay.
So you can do that, Anthony.
No, it sounds good.
Okay, and then Matrix 2 has 44 of 45 left.
So that's wide open.
Yes, it is. Yep. Yep. So go get yourself registered. And you can pick, what kind of a course that you want. So if you wanted to say you wanted only a 22-hour CE package, actually I do. Oh, this 3-day course will provide you with 22.5 hours. Or if you just wanted to see, what's available for Matrix, here's your Matrix ones.
Are those online or in person or both?
Well, I see that it says via webinar.
Wow.
And then you can also see, okay, for education, courses completed since last license renewal. And so actually mine have all been done with online things, so none of mine are showing.
Okay.
But anything that you took from GRAR is going to show in here. And here's my full course history. Since the beginning of time, or my time anyway. So in November of 2013, I took the 75-hour course in the classroom. And our MLS system was called Fusion at that point. So those are different ones that I've taken at GRAR. Okay, let's go back to our home. Here's where it'll tell you when you have balances to pay and lets you pay from here, donate to RPAC. And I will also tell you this dashboard has been updated so much since I first started. It's now, I'm gonna pull you guys picture over to my same screen. It's now specific to each one of us. So these are the two committees I belong to. So the information for those are there. Here's the schedule for those committees. So those are very specific to me. Oh, and they have a virtual RPAC Madness happy hour. Interesting. So, okay, so you have all of the different links from your homepage. So some of the things you might want to look at, market stats. Have you guys looked at those? I
little
had
bit.
I
I
had
haven't,
for a
no.
long time, but they're really cool. These are the things that Chuck's looking at all the time. And I'm using information for this from the newsletters that I'm doing. And so you can easily find information without having to do a whole lot of calculations yourself. So you can pick what area you're going to want to do. So Rochester metro area. So that is an MSA, which stands for Metropolitan Statistical Area. And I know this from my previous life. That is a bunch of counties that are statistically appropriate for the Rochester area. So it probably includes like Wayne County and Ontario County and Livingston County and Genesee County within that. So you can pick, just getting down to, I oftentimes for my newsletter, just do Monroe County. And then you can pick, okay, what is your time frame? What kind of properties do you want to look at? So say I'm going to do single family. If I wanted to say, let's see how houses that are between 1,500 and 2,000 square feet are going. And here, let's throw in bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. And then, so here, median sales price. So right now I'm set for 3 years. So that's going to start in 2018 and go up to now. So February. So this is March. It's always going to be 1 month before where you are. So in February of 2021, Monroe County, it was $175,000. If you go back 3 years to January of 2018, it was $141,450. So that's the median, and then you can change that to average. So whatever you're more comfortable with using. So average is up to 183,000. And in January, it was 149,000. And then you can see along the way any of those values. So you can see closed sales and you can see what's been happening there. and just go click on days on market. So, okay, back in January, it was median 8 days on the market. Now we're median 5. Let's see, if we go to average in 2018 of January was 23. And now the average is 13. So that takes into account those that you were talking about, Jennifer S., right? Where you wanted to go look at one and you found out it was under contract. So yeah, some people now are not doing delayed negotiation. So it's, first come, first serve. And where a lot of people are doing delayed negotiation, so you're likely to, so there you're probably going to have 4 or 5 days. You're not going to get a single day on the market, so that's going to affect things. Dollar volume, and then if you want to get tighter, let's say we just want to look at the year. So the last 12 months, dollar volume of closed sales. And we definitely changed along the way. And then we started to see things coming up. But so this is such great information. And here's your month's supply. So seller's market, we're definitely in a seller's market now. But we're at a balanced market, I think, at 6 months supply. Okay, so we haven't been in a balanced market since I've been an agent. But so this is what we're looking at. So you can get a lot of information here without, like I said, without really having to calculate anything yourself. Okay, showing time. Have you guys set up your showing time so that you're all ready for when you have listings?
Played with it.
Okay, so a few things. I had someone the other day who hadn't done much, and funny calls were coming into the office. And I figured out why. So one, you're going to want to make sure that your cell phone number is in here and that it's identified as a cell phone, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get notifications via text. So you can have office direct lines. There's a bunch of different types that you can have here. Your email address, make sure all of the information is correct. For showings, do you allow agents to request appointments online? So people can turn off their showing time. I do know one agent that has stopped using showing time. And so you can just say, nope, I'm not going to do it. And these are your preferences. So these are your defaults. What kinds of appointments are you going to allow agents to do? So for a little while last year, it was really virtual appointments only. During the beginning of April, that was really the only way that we could do things. So most of us did virtual showings. Appointment mode, default appointment mode. So if you have a vacant house, go and show is awesome because it will make your appointment for you and it will confirm the appointment right away. So if you have people that are living in the house that you're listing, you definitely want to make, that an appointment is required. But with go and show, you're great. And then you can also say whether you're going to allow scheduling overlaps, where if you did, say with a multifamily, you might have group showings set up. And you say, okay, you still want the agents to to make the appointments. And so there you could say, okay, it's appointment required, and you can change it for different times. And here I would say then, yes, but let the showing agent know ahead of time that I'm going to allow overlapping appointments. So it's kind of like a restricted open house. So what you put in here is going to be your default settings. And then you can change those for each listing and adjust them for what you want for each listing. Showing voice is automatically turned on. Turn that off. It's an awful, awful thing. So this is how you're going to get notifications. I have actually way too many ways to get notifications. I have email, I have a text message, plus I have push notifications, and it comes to my showing time app on my phone. So, okay, I'm not going to miss something. So I'm going to get it for those. Feedback requests. Showing time will automatically send out feedback requests for you. And you can set how many times you want to send those out. And then buyer's agent, what do you want to have for showing and notifications and things like that? So this is one of the things you're going to want. You should go in and set this up so that you have your defaults. You make sure you have your cell phone number in there. If you don't have your cell phone number, you're not going to be able to select text messages. And you can do an upgrade. The upgrade actually has somebody that answers the phone, which is what a lot of the systems before we used showing time did. And it's just so much easier just to use showing time and, do your appointments online. So when you're done, hit the save changes. And then feedback forms. You can design your own. My feedback form design and settings. So here's the standard one, the showing time template. And let's see. Feedback form. So this is what the showing time template looks like. I've created a different one that I use. And so you can create your own. So you can do those ahead of time. And then you just say that you want to use one of yours rather than the standard showing time template. So that's just one of the things kind of to think about and, get set up so that you are ready for both using showing time, both for showings and for listings. Any questions on that? Okay.
Hey, Chris, moving with Zillow buying showing time, is like GRAR and other, or I should say, the National Realtors Association working on their own kind of software?
You know what? I'm not quite sure. I have a feeling that I'm pretty sure that's being looked at.
Yeah, just so Zillow doesn't have all of everything,
Yeah. So I know when I make showings, I never provide my buyer's name.
Okay.
And I don't. So some of the other things you can do are set it up so that feedback goes directly to your client. I never do that either.
Okay.
So I always have it just come to me. So I try to, make as little information as possible.
Okay.
Available to them.
So that, yeah, less data they have, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. They actually owned Have any of you guys heard people talk about dot loop?
Yes.
Okay, so that was another system that we used to use, and it was owned by Zillow.
Oh,
Now we're using DocuSign along with Command. Yeah, so Zillow is getting in there, and what they're doing, I mean, it's really smart. They're buying platforms that are already being used and work very well, and people, you know, love them.
right.
You know, and so it's really hard for people not to use them. Okay, RPR. Have you guys used RPR? So RPR stands for Realtors Property Resource. It is owned by the National Association of Realtors. They changed the look of it just a few weeks ago. I don't like the new one. I like the old one better. But so one of the things I do, say it before I go. Here, let's go look at. Okay, this 26 Shadbush Way. Let me go. Let's open that. If you just go to the listing right here, this little thing here is going to give you, take you to RPR. And it's for that address.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so as I said before, whenever I'm going to be showing a listing, I'll always go into RPR and write down on my realtor full copy what RPR thinks it's worth. So within RPR, so RVM stands for Realtors Valuation Model. So that is RVM is better than AVM, Automated Valuation Model, because the RVMs factor in MLS data, where the AVMs are just public data. And if you want to know what any of these mean, just like I did, just go hover over the eye, and it'll tell you more about it. So it gives me, this is what it thinks. Here's their level of confidence. So they're pretty confident. They're 5 stars, so 100% confident in that. Here's their range. And the range there is from 114,000 to 136,000. And they'll give you, here's the basic facts, basically give you the information from the listing. If there have been multiple listings for that, you can go to the history. And what I like is here. So here's the current record. Here's one, it was sold in 2017. And it was also sold in 2014. So I can go and click on the compare historical records, and it's going to show me the close price for the old ones, the RVM back then. And this is what I love, is you have the photos. So I might want to say, okay, let me see what the kitchen looked like back then. And so you can click through those and say, okay, any updates there? A lot of this looks the same, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They didn't clean it up before they took all those photos.
No, they did not. I'm guessing there's a tenant there. Yeah, so everything there looks pretty much like it did before. But so this is a nice little tool to just be able to compare the historical records, and you can see them side by side.
Those pictures are disgusting. Would you let your client like
Uh-uh,
present it like that? Oh my
I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
that is gross.
Yep, yep. So if I go back to it, I hope they say that, yeah, it doesn't say at all that, there's a tenant in it, but I mean, that's my best guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, woo-hoo!
Bed.
Yes, yes. Yeah. But anyway, so that's one of the things you can do with RPR that is really, really cool is, easily compare them side by side. Also, what I do when I have a listing, when I first go and meet with them, I will go and I'm going to look up the house. And so this has both public information and MLS information. Let me see. Okay. So here's my house. Brings it up. Okay. So here's what RVM believes is the value. And I've done some playing around. Okay, this is my house. Refined value. I can show you about what that is. But what I do when I go on a listing appointment is, so here's the RVM. That's what RPR believes. And then we've got this range here. So in the know folder, there is under sales and marketing, the seller net sheet. I don't know why I put that separately. So let me download it. And this is the one I use. And I'm pretty sure Jeffrey uses this one too. Open, open, open. Okay. And so once you download it, you'll want to enable editing. It's just an Excel sheet. And I put in here, this is how I use it. So what I do, so I'll put the property address in here. I've got the different costs. So actually I might want to say, okay, the attorney's $500. And in the end, what this does is it identifies what their net, what they're going to net off the system. So I've got built into here, where's our commission? So the commission's in here, but what I'll do is I'll go to RPR and say, okay, so my middle one is going to be, okay, so let's just make it a little bit easier, 295,000. My lower value is going to be 259, 1, 2, 3. My upper one's going to be 330. And then I just calculate, what what goes in the middle. 15. Let's just pretend it's 315. And let's see. So, and then, as I say here, the way that I do this, because I haven't looked at their house yet. So I say, this is what one of my systems believes that this value, the value of your house is, but they give me a range, from here to here. So probably the right price to list your home at is in here. But say if you think about it on a scale of 1 through 10, it's a 1 to 3. Like that house you just saw that is all messy. No. But you know, this is probably the price we're going to be able to get. If everything's updated, it's perfect. This is more like the price that we're going to get. So it's a good way of kind of explaining that to them, that there's a range and it's going to depend upon you know, what their house looks like. And okay, so here's our commission, and of course you can modify any of those prices, and then it comes down to, once you've got all of those, it'll calculate their net proceeds. But so I use what's in RPR to fill in those values to start with. And then you can do a CMA from here. So here's your home facts. And so here's public record data. Okay, listing data. It's not listed yet, so I don't have any of those. Searching for comps. So back when I did it, so I was looking for those that were active for sale, closed, was looking for single family. I usually try to make this pretty equivalent to the house. So actually, I'm going to change this to 3 bedrooms and 3 baths. And then tell it to search in the map area that I'm in. And it will give me those, and you can see what's been recently closed. You can go click on them, and you can decide whether you want to use this as a comp or not. So let's just go and say we're going to, okay, I've already used that one as a comp. That one's already used as a comp. This one's recently closed. Let's go use that one. Actually, I'm not going to use that one, because that's on, yeah, that's in the ABC streets. So then you go and find them. Here's the ones that you got. So we're going to update the valuation based on what we're looking at. And right now I'm at 333. Then we can make adjustments. One of the things with RPR, and one of the reasons that I make the, I try to make it pretty close to what the house is that I'm looking at, because your adjustments are made on this sliding scale. So if I go and look at this one on Milburn Street, I want to say, you know, is it worse or is it better than the house that I'm listing? And you'll see that if I say that it's better, it's going to adjust the subject by, in this case, where I am. So I've got done 2 clicks up, you know, minus $5,000. Where if I go the other way, it's going to adjust it up by that much. So you can go look at bigger photos, you know, and sometimes if it's hard to look in the photos, I'll go and look them up in Matrix and, you know, see what I think. And so let's say this one's better, this one's worse. And if you find as you're looking at them that it just doesn't work, you can delete them. So say this one, say if I say that's not going to be a good comp, I'm just going to remove it. And so you do that there. So we made those adjustments. So we've upgraded the value of my home by a couple $1,000s. And so this is what we have. So then we can create a report. These reports can get very, 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 very detailed. I tend to like the seller's report, and there are 81 pages here. If you want to use all 81. What I would recommend is the first time you do this, that you run the report and you look at all of the pages. So here's what's available. And okay, let's do a reset everything. So everything. So we've got the property values, listing price, estimated value change, all of that information. Home facts, including the homeowners, extended home facts, refined value, property photos, historic photos, lots and lots and lots and lots of information. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to run this report. And we'll see what it looks like once it's done. It'll pop up and will tell me. So I do a very abbreviated one. I've gone through and looked, and it's like, okay, I don't want to have to explain that to my client. You know, I don't want to have to explain that to my client. Or it's like, I'm not even sure what that means. So you can pick and choose what you want to have included in that report. And anything that you run is going to be here in your work. So here's reports that I did previously. And it saves them, I think, in here for 30 days. And here's one that I had run on it before. So this is going to look more like what I would normally do. So one, you put your information, you're going to want to update your profile in RPR so that your information is in here. And then, okay, here's the current estimated value, the refined value that I had done, and I can show you what the refined means, and my comp analysis from when I did that. Here's the map of where the comps are. And then here's the different properties. So kind of a thumbnail view of each one of those. And then here's a larger view of each of those. And then, okay, so actually I don't usually include this one. So selected recent market activity for 14607. User selected comps. So you can, this is good information, you know, look through them, see what you might want to include.
How many comps do you use? 5 or?
I try to get at least 3.
3.
And I start with, you know, when I start doing the search, I want to get a house that's as close to the one that I'm comping as I can. So I'll put in the same number of bedrooms, the same number of bathrooms, the square footage that's pretty tight, and see what I get back.
I mean, if you have 10 that come up, you're not going to use all 10, are you? Or
Probably wouldn't use all 10.
okay.
But you could. So recommended pricing strategy, I typically do not leave this in here. So I usually just leave this front page in here. And here, this refined value, RPR lets you, oh, here's the report that I just did. So this is the one that has every single page in it, up to 63 pages. So it's a good thing. Go and do this with your own house, and see what each of these pages looks like. So here's the home facts on the house. Here's extended home facts. Here's home improvement. So one of the things that you can do is refine things. So you can add in home improvements, and that's where that refined value came from. And you can also say that it needs these bits of work, and that will adjust your refined value also. I do find that they're maybe a little bit high when you do that. But so here's property history, median estimated home value, sales history. Okay, I bought it in 1998. Here's things about mortgage records, deed records. So just go through, look at all of these and kind of decide what would you want to share with a client and what would you want to explain to a client. I know some people that says, I'm going to send them the whole thing because it looks really, really impressive, that I've got 70 pages. But if you do that, just make sure that when they ask you questions about it, you'll be able to answer them. Okay? But very, very cool tool. Okay, so I'm going to close that down. Other things. So you can do school reports, which first I need to select a school. Okay, so school. Okay, how do I select a school? Personalize my report. Where do I select a school? Okay, home. This is one of those things on the new one. I'm not sure where exactly I select the school. Let me go back to, okay, create a report. Like I said, they've changed things a lot in this. I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. But with the schools, it's kind of nice because you know that we're not supposed to talk about schools. So you can give them a report on schools once you figure out how to do it.
And that's okay to give them, Chris?
Yeah, you can give them
school reports, but
school
just
reports,
can't
things that are public record, etc. You
Okay.
just can't give them an opinion.
Okay.
Okay. One of the other nice things on your websites, on our websites and the mobile app. So if you look up a property, it'll tell you what schools are there.
Oh, okay.
And we'll give them a link into it. So again, another one of those things that you can't talk about,
Right.
but you can provide them with the information. So RPR has tons and tons and tons of information that you can use.
Chris, sorry to get off the topic, but say like that comes up, like, because I know that's a big factor, like when people are looking for homes. If you're presented with that question, I guess the proper thing to say would be, well, I can send you information about
Yes.
the school districts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I can give you a link to information or go and look it up on my app or my website.
Okay.
And you'll be able to find it. And that's also on, if you do the neighborhood nurture,
Yeah.
That's going to be on there also. Schools are going to be there. And also another thing, we can't talk about how good or bad neighborhoods are or areas. That's another thing that's there, walkability scores. So let me go log into my website. I logged out of my website. See if this is what it is. Okay, so this is my website, and I, as my personal person, have saved some searches. So say I want to go to this Rochester one that I created, and let's go look at this Cobbs Hill Drive property. Oop. Great, they're fixing things. Can I put there? Okay, this one worked. Okay, so here's that listing. That's Anthony's. Here's the property description, the details. They can calculate commute times too. Here's the schools. And so they give you ratings here. Here's statewide rankings. Open houses, payments, property taxes, where's walkability? Oh, and now it looks like I'm lying. So I wonder if they removed that. There used to be walkability scores in here. So here's commute times, nearby schools, what'll it cost? We'll look at a different one.
Can somebody else see your saved searches or only you?
Only me and my agent. So this is me as the consumer me. Oh, here's a walkability. And then you can calculate commute times. Here's the schools. Provided by Pitney Bowes. You know, and yeah, so neighborhoods, yep, you can't give an opinion. But you can send them to where they can find information on things. Okay,
Okay.
let's go back to GRAR. What else that's on here might you want to know more about? Inquiring minds.
Do you always use the RPR as the way to find your comps, or do you also do, was it through Matrix?
It kind of depends. I pretty much always use RPR for single family homes.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll double check it with Matrix. Where RPR falls down is if you have for multifamily homes. It doesn't give you really great information. And so for those, I usually, good thing is I don't list about a lot of them. I will usually do Matrix and figure out price per square foot for the area. And so I'll pull my own and then just do some calculations off of that.
Okay.
Yeah, but for single families, RPR really is what I use. And I mean, Realist has the same kind of information, but it's different. And Realist you have available to you right in Matrix. So this is also something that's pretty new. Is this information here, the public record, that came from Realist. The history, the parcel maps and things. So a lot of this information comes from what you could look up on Realist. separately. So lots of good information here for you to, play with. Flood maps. So you can see, is it in a flood zone or not? That's really important, especially, it's actually always good to check out, because some places that you do not think are in a flood zone are, because
Yeah.
there's water anywhere near that. But these are things that you can check out. So just the parcel map itself, you can do different overlays, I believe. So you can also do schools. So if you want to see what are the high school layouts. What are the high schools there? Did I get that? Okay. Am I gonna get that? Not showing me much, is it? Oh, it undid it. Undid it. I'm not sure what it just did to me. Okay. Points of interest. Well, let's add some of those, see if it's changing. Okay, so we've got a point of interest there. But for some reason, it's not showing me the school. Oh, yes, it is. There we go. I just haven't made it small enough. So this is a spot where you can look and see which schools apply. And you just do the layers. So here's neighborhoods. And so of course in the suburbs, there aren't any neighborhoods, but if you want to check, the different neighborhoods for the city, here they are. And they may or may not, I will tell you, they may or may not match the neighborhoods that we have for Keller Williams, because the neighborhoods for Keller Williams are next door. And these would be the official, what the city calls a neighborhood.
Okay.
And next door, they're kind of defined by the people that live there. Did you have a question, Anthony?
Oh, no, I just said, okay.
Okay. Yeah, so you can look at the maps with all kinds of different information. Oh, distressed properties. Oops. Not letting me do those. Oh, zoom in. I wonder if I zoom in. Am I finding any? Yep, there's some. And so that's one of the things, a lot of times people on Zillow, they'll say, hey, tell me about this one on Zillow. And it's a pre-foreclosure. Oops, I need to zoom in more. And they're asking about it. So pre-foreclosure doesn't mean it's on the market. It says that there's a lien on it. So you can look at these within Matrix also. Let's see how much information we can get.
So pre-foreclosure, they're about to go into foreclosure, or?
They might. It's a
Okay.
possibility. So there's a lien on it. They might be able to satisfy it and go back out of pre-foreclosure.
Chris, I have a question. Foreclosed properties, are they even on MLS?
A lot of times they are.
Okay,
Those are going to be the bank owned or REO.
okay. Auction house?
Well, and sometimes they're auction.
Okay,
So they could be sold different ways. If they're auction, they're going to be sold at an auction, and it might be an auction at the house.
I see.
The ones that are auctioned, so they say on, the steps of City Hall, which
Yeah.
I've never done that, don't usually make it to the MLS. So not everything ends up in the MLS.
Oh, okay.
But many times they are there and they are listed on the MLS, but those will be the bank-owned ones. So. So you can play around a lot with the map information and see what you can find about properties.
And this is all in Realist?
So this is in your matrix.
Matrix, okay.
Yeah. And the information probably comes from Realist, but in your parcel map.
Okay.
So this larger map here will let you do the layers, and you can pick and choose and see what you want to see. So say if we wanted to do zip code, you can see where all the zips are. And which zips are what. Okay, what else? Okay, events, upcoming events on GRAR. There's a virtual. Okay. Oh, that was Technopalooza for last year. I think it's going to be virtual again this year. So you guys don't even know what Technopalooza is, right?
No.
So Technopalooza is, well, it used to be that we had a bunch of different, typically at a hotel, DoubleTree, and so it was a conference, and so we could go around and visit the different people, and GRAR always had a table and things. Well, this last year we couldn't do it in person. So we got people and did it all via Zoom. And so there's a charge for it. And actually the nice thing about doing it virtually is when we did it in person, we usually had 4 or 5 rooms going at the same time, and you had to pick what thing you wanted to learn about. And one might be done twice during the day. I think we had like 4 rooms, maybe 5 times during the day. And so you had to pick what you were doing, where with the virtual, you could go to the ones in person that you could get to, but you could get access to the recordings of all of the sessions. And they brought in national speakers and things. And I've helped with Technopalooza just about every year since we've had it. But this year, I think it's going to be virtual again. So you get national speakers that are talking about, social media and how they do things like that. What are some of the other things that, let's see if there's a list of what we had. Here's session details. Silly rabbit, it's a turtle race. Smartphone video boot camp, adapt or evaporate. Creating conversations using social media. You are essential now. For a little while last year, we weren't essential. We weren't even allowed to go on a property. Getting your brand noticed on Google. Increase your presence and leads quickly with Instagram and IGTV. Leading outside the box, modern agent mastery. So those were the sessions that they had last year. Oh. And no, I guess you can't purchase them. There was a link there and it's like, oh, can you go back and purchase them? I'm not sure. What else? All of the contracts and forms are here in addition to being, of course, in transaction desk. So you can go in here and you will see that all of the forms named, and you can download them from here if you want to too. So if you just need a form and you don't want to go into transaction desk, you can get them from here. Agent tools and resources. So about your taxes and membership dues and how much of your membership dues is deductible. So you guys all licensed in 2020?
2021.
Okay.
I was 2020.
Okay. So this is something you may want to look at with your tax guy. So get this information so that you know how much of what you've paid is deductible.
Okay.
Okay. And different tools, online training, code of ethics, advertising guidelines, other risk reduction information. So this is good information because none of us want to go to real estate jail, right? So lots of information in here. MLS rules, committees and task forces. So this talks about the different committees that are available. And yep, so there's the technology committee. I'm on that. Technology task force. I'm not officially on that yet this year. I was on this one for a little while. Portal tips, education, local board orientation video from NYSAR. This lady is great. What's her name? Roxanne. I've been to a couple of her classes in person. Sign ordinances. So how signs have to work. I kind of depend upon my sign installation guy to know that, but there's so much information here for you. You know, just kind of click around and see what you find. Data co-op is another thing that's kind of like RPR and Realist, and I just got totally confused by it. If you want to explore it, you can. I'm not going to sound very smart about it at all. So, you know, it looks a whole lot like what you see on Realist. And so you can do searches and things in here. It is, I'm not sure if I can even really tell you what the source is. Oops, that doesn't work. Okay. So it found that for me. Click for parcel information. So you can do drive time and distance, save search options. So, I mean, we've got so many different resources, you know, you can kind of look around and figure out what is your favorite. Ooh, bus stations. Restaurants, let's put pharmacies and restaurants in here. And so I've got information on, okay, we've got a pharmacy, we've got a bunch of restaurants around. So again, RPR, Realist, our websites, Data Co-op, they all have a lot of good information for you. You just kind of go around and see what makes you happy. So links to NYSAR, links to National Association of Realtors. What else? We go into transaction desk. So pretty much everywhere you're going to want to make sure that your information is up to date, right? And so here's preferences that you can set for yourself. Let's just kind of go through all of the different things that you have available to you. So here's my email signature from Transaction Desk. I didn't put any branding in there. I don't usually send a whole lot of stuff that would need to be pretty out of Transaction Desk. But here's where your basic settings are in there. So in Matrix, you also have things, if you're going to use RPR for reports, you're going to want to, make sure your picture's in there. You're going to want to make sure that your correct information is in there. So now I'm in Matrix. So headers and footers. Use a custom photo. So many different spots where you can, do your profile. So if nothing else, you kind of learned about some of those today. Help, and here's FAQs. Tips and how to do PDFs. Matrix quick start videos, data input forms, city neighborhood maps. So Rochester City neighborhood map. So here's a nice map. You could even download it and print it if it's useful to you. I know I have this hanging in my office at my house. Because how many of us can remember exactly what all the neighborhoods are, right?
It, Chris, is that for suburbs too, or?
The suburbs aren't going to have neighborhoods.
Okay.
Not as far as the official neighborhoods.
Okay.
And neighborhoods that we see with Keller Williams are from next door. So
Okay.
they aren't official neighborhoods. But yeah, so let's see what you can do. So there's Geneva, Syracuse, Buffalo, and Rochester. So basically the cities have neighborhoods. So here's adding, moving, or changing columns in search results. We went over that a little bit. So if that's something you want to do, here's a little video that's going to help you out with that. If you go, I know Chris showed that to me, but how do I do it? You can go find it here. Here's one on reverse prospecting and how reverse prospecting works. How to do a save search to auto email. So just about anything you can think of, you can find it here. Three-hour Matrix pre-release overview. Oh, 3-hour in-depth training video on Matrix for those that like details.
There's your course, Anthony.
Yep.
Yeah.
Might
That's
Yeah.
what
not
I
need
was
to pay
thinking.
for it.
There is a lot to learn though.
Oh,
Oh, there is. There is.
There's a lot to learn.
Yep. Yep. You know, and it's kind of fun. It's like, oh, look what I learned today.
And it's a good feeling once you kind of master it too, huh?
Right, right, right. You know, and you can go, you know, at your own pace and click around,
Yeah.
and it's like, what can I find? And oh, I want to know more about that. You know, and kind of decide which of the tools that you like to use. You know, which one works better for you? Do you like
Sure.
like data co-op? You know, do you like realist? And each one of them has their own pluses and minuses, but you really can't figure that out until you've gone and played with them a little bit.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions from, say, Matrix or Transaction Desk that you might have?
No, the RPR was very handy.
Yep.
That's a great tool.
Yeah, yeah. And I know in the seller series that Anthony does the first part, and he uses RPR.
Okay.
The other Anthony.
Oh, Butera.
Yeah, Sarah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I like the reports that you know, it makes for me, and you know, and it's just easy to use, and it has, you know, a combination of both MLS data plus public data. You can find pretty much properties anywhere. And if they're for sale, you can find them. So if somebody says, hey, I have my house for sale in North Carolina, you can go look it up in RPR.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And get the details. Or if somebody says, I'm thinking of selling my house, you know, what do you think it's worth? And it's like, oh, let me go look at one of my tools and see what I can find for you.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so if there is nothing else that you guys can think of, that's I think I basically hit on what I was thinking of, and maybe even a few more things.
yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
And
Gives me something to play with.
yes, absolutely. This will go into our YouTube channel. You guys all know how to get there, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And yeah, so that'll be out there within a day or so. So you can go back to it if there's something that you said, what was it she was talking about?
That was me with watching your video on the transaction desk. I'm like, where did she get that from?
You know, the
Yep.
transaction desk help desk, like if you call them while you're going through it, they're super helpful and they
Oh,
answer.
yeah.
Good
Okay.
to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the nice things with things like, you know, transaction desk, you know, we've got the video there. So you can say, okay, let me start the video. Okay, I'll do things, you know, okay, well, I've kind of learned that. Now let me go test
Right.
it out. Right. And then you can practice and go crazy, and you can write as many offers as you want and list as many houses as you want, you know, for fake. Until
So
you
you can
get
do
some.
that. You can practice doing that with like a fake listing or a fake transaction and just to go through all the paperwork to see. Okay.
Yep.
And you don't, it doesn't, okay.
Yeah. So
Doesn't commit you to writing a check.
yeah, so no, you can go through the whole process of writing an offer and even have it signed. And as long as you don't send it off to somebody, It's not going to do anything, and you can create a listing, and unless you make it submit it in Matrix, you know, it's not going to go there.
Okay.
It won't be available to anybody else. So you can practice a lot of things. You can go in transaction desk and start a listing transaction and make that and fill it all in. Fill in your MLS input sheet, hit the upload, what's it called? Upload listing, and it'll make your listing for you in Matrix. And it'll save it as incomplete. And you could even then go in practicing uploading your photos and setting up your showing time and things. Because until you say that you're actually submitting it and making it real, nobody else can see that listing.
Okay.
So yeah, you can practice like crazy. You know, until you get smooth and understand it. And
Have a real listing.
yeah. You know, the right time to learn it is not when you need it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because it's there's enough stress already. It's like, oh, I'm going to be listing this house. You know, you don't want to be learning the tool at the same time. So yeah,
That's
just
for sure.
yeah. And I mean, you guys could even get together and, you know, write offers to each other and review them and stuff. I know, Jennifer, who are you? Who's your mentor?
Me?
Jennifer Salzman, yeah.
Rachel Wexler.
Okay. Anthony, how about you?
I just got mentored with Patrick. I don't know Patrick's last name.
Is it Renya?
N-
Maybe?
I'm no,
No?
he just became a mentor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I guess he's gonna be my mentor. I just found out yesterday.
Okay, cool. Well, and I know Jennifer Vernetti is with Jeffrey, and I think he said he's going to bring you guys in his groups and practice on stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
if he didn't tell you that, um, hopefully I didn't spoil it.
No, we touched on it the other day because I said that would be very helpful.
Yep.
Because I felt that that's what I was having a hard time, is not seeing somebody do it in person, sitting and making my notes on a hard copy and just being able to organize it. So
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
told him that was a very good idea, that I needed it.
Yep. That's good. Yeah. And again, the more practice you can get, the better. And then if you can, you know, learn enough so you can even make your own templates, so you don't have to use the KW ones, it'll make it even faster because you can pre-fill those in yourself.
Yeah.
So once you learn more about, this is what I would normally put there, then you could go and create your own.
Yeah, and that was another thing I thought I had done. But I think I was just doing it for what I was actually working on. Because when Jeffrey was looking at it, he's like, all my X's I had brought over, and he was like, oh, he's like, you could have saved time if you set it up ahead of time. I was like, oh crap, I thought that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So
Well, here, since we got a little bit of time, and this is actually the first thing that I go through in the recording. So to set up your templates, you're going to go here to the gear thing, and then it's transaction templates. And then you've got the ad. So you're going to say, okay, I'm going to create a new one. Let's just pretend that we did that. So here's all of the KW ones, and these are there both for Brighton and the West. I'm the one that actually puts them out there, and I do it for both offices. But so here's here, oh, let me go to a single family listing. So now let's just go make one. So let's go, we're gonna create one. Ownership, okay, you're only going to have personal. So let's say listing in class. And then you identify what type this is. And it's going to be a residential listing, okay? And description, this is gonna be for you, so you can decide whether you want to do a description or not. So then you're gonna hit save. Then if there's any contacts you might use all the time, for example, if you had a favorite attorney, maybe you might want to put a contact in there. In most cases, you're not going to. Let's go to forms first. Do you guys know the difference between a form and a document?
A form is fillable.
Ding, ding. Yep. Yeah, so the forms are the ones that you're going to find here in GRAR. So let's just go and pick a couple of them that would go for a listing. So exclusive right to sell, right? So I'm gonna go pick that one. MLS input. This is my favorite form. So I'm just gonna add those two for now. So I have those here. And then documents and folders. So you might put in like the Keller Williams franchise disclosure if you want, because that doesn't have fillable ones. But if you put them in there, they'll be there for when you create a listing using this template. So let's go. So you've picked your forms. We're going to go to the exclusive right to sell. So some of these are going to be filled out automatically. But if you're always going to do listings, you can set this one that it's to sell the property. If you do rentals, then it would be lease the property, but you can go through and start pre-filling this. So here, let's say that we're always going to do a commission of 6%, and you can change these once you get them into the actual transaction. So here we can start filling this out so that we don't have to do it again every time. So in most cases, my people say it's okay to do a sign, and it's okay for the lockbox, and it's okay for the photograph, and they're going to allow they'll do the property maintenance. I don't really do foreclosure, so my people typically can check all of these as true. These I'm just not gonna do any pre-filling. Most of the time, I've never worked on one where the gas, oil, mineral, and timber rights didn't go with it. I have done a propane before, but typically it's no. So I'm just gonna go and pre-fill those in. Life of the contract, you're not gonna wanna do anything there. And those are the kind of things that I would fill in ahead of time. Here's a little trick. If you go click here, transaction forms, it'll save what I did before, and it'll go into the next one. My MLS.
So that's how I save it when I want.
You can save it here,
Okay.
just under the file, or it will automatically save when you go to the next transaction.
Okay.
Okay, so some of the things I know you're going to ask me what some of these things mean, and quite frankly, I don't know. But there's some things that I can pre-fill in. So if you're going to do showing time all the time, your showing appointment or description is going to be appointment service. And I talked about the fact that you can put showing time in place of the number. So I'm gonna put that in. Showing instructions, all agents. Lockbox. Online showing service. Property exclusions, usually I don't have any, so I'm just gonna go check that one. I typically do exclusive right to sell, never done anything else. MLS entry only. Negotiations with the listing broker only, special conditions, not usually. So you can fill in that compensation.
Now, Chris, I have a question.
Mhm.
I actually ran into someone yesterday,
Mhm.
and they didn't know I was selling real estate, and they signed an exclusive right to sell with someone else.
Okay,
Can they get out of that if they wanted to? Like,
so there is a date on it that says how long it goes.
she's not sure.
Okay,
So,
so,
well, I asked her if she signed one, and she
uh-huh,
was like, "Well, I'm not sure if I signed one or not." And I go, "Well, find out." And
yes,
I'm gonna find out this weekend what was going
okay,
on with that. And if
okay,
she did, um, right, there's a time frame to follow, right? Like,
right, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
or else that agent's gonna be do a commission if I sold her something, or
right, yeah,
okay,
so the exclusive right to sell is a contract, so they have a
okay,
contract with that person.
okay,
If there's anything that you typically put in private remarks, you can put them here. So you're not going to want to do any of this stuff, but here's one of the things I fill in, because see these R's, they're all required and they're annoying. So I pre-fill them with zeros
okay.
and then just, change what I need to when I use it. Fireplace is kind of the same thing. They're annoying, so I pre-fill those. I don't like to be annoyed. And then when you do it, you'll if there's a one that you need to identify, you just make that change. So you can also say typically if you pretty much do houses that don't have septic or whatever, you can start checking these, and most of your heating fuel is going to be gas, and you're probably going to be public connected, and then you can always change them. So and I usually turn these on. My possession, you can select that. And what's going to happen is, you're going to find that after you create your own template, you're going to say, oh, the first time you use it, oh, I could have done that. So then you can go and make a change to your template. So, okay, so I just filled those two in, and now I'm going to save it. So now I have that template and I know I've saved what's in there. So to use it, I'm going to go do a new transaction. And I'm going to do an ad. And then I'm going to go pick that template. And I did listing in class was the one that I picked, right? And because I said that it was a listing, it's identifying me as the listing agent. So my source, let's go sell my house. Monroe. And so street name only, so you don't put the street on there. And we go select that and then create. So what it's going to do is it's going to bring in that information that it's getting from Realist. And it's brought in the forms and if I had any documents that I put into my template. And so it has me here because I've been identified. Okay, so I'm the seller. It identified me as the seller and the listing agent is here and our brokerage is here. And that's because it knows that. So then here's the two forms that I put into the template and I didn't put any documents in. So I'm just going to hit done. So then over here on right side versus left side, this left side here, this is for all of transaction desk. Then this right side is for that particular transaction. Okay. So I can bop into, okay, here's my forms. Here's my exclusive right to sell. And so it's filled in some of the information here based on the realist search, right? And then this is here because I checked that I'm going to be in the template. I checked this one. I already had pre-filled this in. I pre-filled that. I pre-filled these. And if any of these, maybe that nasty lady doesn't want me to put a sign up, I can say no. A lot of times if you're listing in townhouses or HOA properties, they won't allow signs. So that may be something that you change. You know, and you just go through and you modify anything that is different than what you have in there and fill in the rest of the pieces. And this is, Anthony, where they will have in that exclusive right to sell, it'll say how long this contract goes.
Oh, okay.
So, well, and it's got the owner's information in there because it got that from Realist. Here's my information. And then same thing. So this switching to another form is going to be in here. I'm going to go to the MLS input sheet. And this is one of the things I have in the transaction desk training. This is going to be one of your best friends. So this information was, part of it was filled in from our realist, right? And part of this you'll see here. So I put in the showing appointment number as showing time. And I had filled this in and I had filled this in. So I filled in a lot of these things so I don't have to do them again. And then, so you've got a lot of information that's been filled in. The next thing you want to do is go and import your tax record again. And I've had it explained to me why you do it twice. And it's because some of the fields could be automatically mapped over and some couldn't. So there was a secondary mapping. Oops. Okay, so then you go and find me again and import, and it's going to fill in some more information for you. Just makes your job easier. First, it makes it all white and you go, oh my God. Yeah, but it's filled in now more information than what you had before. So frontage and depth and things like that, I think weren't there. Other things it does, so you might have noticed that it had Vassar Street before, and it splits that off and does a selection for street. So those are a little bit on using templates. Okay, and filled in what the number of stories was out of realist. And then here's my, okay, so for the bedrooms and things like that, I've got my zeros in there and all I have to do is go and change the one. I don't have to go type 0000 again over and over and over again. Because that annoys me. And it has my zeros in for the fireplace. I do have, let's say I have an artificial one. And I kind of have a gas one. And then you can just fill in the other pieces, but these pieces that I had selected ahead in the template are there. But say if I had electric heating, so I can go and change that from the gas that I had originally. And it brings it, okay, so it brings in the assessment from Realist. These are some things you always want to check. So go to the Monroe County tax records, go to the city tax records. If your listing is in a village, you're going to have a village tax. And I have not yet found a website that gives me a village tax. You're going to have to call the village to get that information. But if it's in a village, there's always going to be a village tax. So you want to fill those in and go and get them from the right resource.
Chris, the information that you're adding to this is not going to trump the one that you already have, correct?
It won't change my template at all.
Okay.
So the template stays the way that it is. If you do find as you're going through this that it's like, oh man, I should have put this in the template,
Mhm.
you can go and you can modify the template separately.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, this won't make changes to your template, and changing your template won't make changes to this one once
Gotcha.
you started.
Okay.
Okay.
Good question, John.
Yeah. I'm curious to see now. I have to go back in and see what I actually did.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, but these once you gotten used to and understand, how you should be using the forms for what types of things, it will help you. And I know there's one on the purchase contract. I fill in the mortgage percentage up front because once upon a time I found myself, I realized that I had put 10% in for the mortgage rather than 90%. So I just wrote in an 80% there to remind myself that, Chris, it needs to be the higher number, the actual percentage of what their mortgage is going to be. So whatever it is that, works for you and how you learn to fill them in, definitely use the information that you get from your mentor and, also from the buyer and seller series. On, understanding what you should be putting in there to start with. But so there, you got a little extra.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And then the last form that I do, I always hit the save. I'm pretty sure it will save it, but I'm never quite sure. So just an abundance of caution. And there it actually says save and exit now. Okay. If you guys are all good, it was great having you here. Congratulations, you're done with this Ignite.
Wow.
Woo-hoo. I know that's a lot of training.
It is.
Yeah. But I mean, definitely, go back again and you're going to learn something different.
Absolutely.
The next time you check them out, or if you go back and do the live Zooms, you're going to pick up on something that you didn't get the first time. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great Friday.
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye.
John.
Bye.
See you guys.
Don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
All right.
Anthony.